What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Terror Table, a horror movie podcast presented by the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Mitch, and with me today I have...
You got Kyle.
And Boozy.
We got Kyle and Boozy. We got a full table here, and this episode we are going to be discussing Halloween Kills, the very divisive film that I have managed to... This is the first time in Halloween history that I've managed to completely avoid any of the online discourse because I just didn't want to get into it with anyone. And
you stayed in your own lane.
Well, it's a lot of people yelling at each other because there's some extremely different takes on this movie. It's gotten a reaction out of the horror community nonetheless. I would say it's definitely leaning more towards negative, but we have no idea how the three of us feel today. So we will get into that in the main feature. I know, Kyle, you hadn't seen 2018 until, I'm guessing you watched both of them today, didn't you?
I'll go no comment on that, but I will say that I have watched both films, and that, yes, correct, I had not seen 2018 up until very recently.
Awesome. We will talk all things Halloween and Michael Myers on the main feature. But before we get this episode rolling, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors.
The Saskatchewan Podcast Network is supported by Direct West. Is marketing getting in the way of running your business? Things like updating your Google listing, thinking of a headline for a billboard, or making sure your website is in good shape? That's where Direct West comes in. You can get local expert marketing help for your business at directwest.com.
All right, fellas. We're back. We're back at it. It's been how long? We haven't recorded since September, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks at least.
I'm gonna go no comment.
Yeah. So we are recording today on October 21st, only 10 days away from the best day of the year. But it's been a while since we talked to each other. I'm sure the three of us have all seen some shit. I know I can just personally say that this is the most lacking. This Halloween season is by far my most lacking in terms of watching horror. I haven't watched a lot. I think
usually you're crushing it. Halloween's your time to crush it.
I think I have a pass this year.
Right, that's fair.
I have a pass because
the fellas are busy, you know.
Yeah. So this is the first episode that we'll be recording where I am 18 hours away from you guys, and I'm an hour behind you guys. How's the future looking over there?
So far, a bit brighter, but not by much.
Has the weather been good?
Meh.
It's Saskatchewan. What?
Yeah, come on, Mitch. No. Why are you even asking? What is this? You're gone for a month, and all of a sudden you're one of those guys. Oh, what's the weather like over there?
No, but it's funny because it turns out that it rains a lot in Vancouver. That turns out to be a real fact.
It's not just a myth.
No, since I've been here, every single day. Oh, God. But I'm a rainy boy.
You guys keep it wet over there.
Yeah, I like getting wet. You know. In the words of Andrew WK, everyone get wet. I think that's what he says.
I don't even know.
I fucking love Andrew WK. But all right, let's start talking about some horror movies. So who wants to go first? I wanna hear from Boozy. It's been a while since I've heard Boozy's thoughts on some spooky films.
Okay, so it's gonna be. I do have some stuff. It's gonna be a little underwhelming. I watched a couple things for the festival, like screeners and stuff. So I'm not allowed to talk about that, but I have been still putting in that work.
You just failed the first rule of Festival Club.
Don't talk about Festival Club.
Yeah, don't talk about Festival Club. But we'll talk after, Boozy.
Yeah, so that's enough said on that one. I do have some big stuff I want to talk about. And the first one is I finally watched CANDYMAN. I've been waiting.
Great.
All right, so this is the last leg of the tripod of the Terror Table to have reviewed CANDYMAN. What are your thoughts, my guy?
I thought it was amazing. Oh God, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Because there's
been out for 2 months.
It's been a little while.
It's free. You don't need to spoil it, but you can talk freely about it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the kind of the thing I wanted to point out is I did not realize that it was a sequel until they kind of dropped that later in. So I was like, oh, this is really cool that way.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I find that was an awesome part. I really find it funny that we're at an age now where the 90s can have lore. Did you know?
Yeah, I think I made that realization a couple years ago. It really fucked me up. But you're right. At this point, we're full blown '90s lore. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's like, remember way back, like how we would look at like the '80s. It was just like a decade before, but it would be like, oh man, look at the Trans Ams and members of Poison.
One of my 3 projects that I am currently penning right now, if you will, is a '90s film set in the '90s. So it's coming back.
Dawson's Creek: The Revenge.
Do you ever think that like the music video for Bowling for Soup's 1985 is just like that? Is like, to me, that's the baseline of time almost, where it's that's
a great song and video.
It's just
that's honestly a great analogy. Where's Bowling for Soup with the 1995 one?
They probably made it, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
They're like, Kurt Cobain died last year. We're all still kind of bummed about it.
Wasn't there a
Kurt Cobain
90s show?
There actually was. There's a pilot.
I know there was a That 80s show, which like no one watched, but
I like tanked after a couple episodes.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of That 80s show. Maybe there wasn't a That 90s show.
That 90s show was just Roseanne.
Yeah,
true.
Anyway, getting back to Candyman, I really like the way they told the story of Helen Lyle using those cutouts and stuff. I thought that was really cool. That I think that having the initial thing come through as an art exhibit is such a smart way to do it, because it's such an inviting. Like, it's like, anybody would fall for that. It's not like a really complicated way for some, for the story to progress, or something where you'd go like, no, that wouldn't happen. It's literally, it's like at an art exhibit, it's looking right at you. Of course you're gonna.
Also, if someone did say that would never happen during a Candyman movie, you have the full right to wedgie them until they bleed.
True. No, but you have to kind of look at like I was looking at it as the idea of like Candyman itself is in its own Candyman universe that's fairly straightforward. Like, people are people as far as that goes, aside from
everybody people.
Except for the idea of like the Candyman himself. So I like that it's based in that reality, that you can have that idea. It's not like they went on some weird website or something.
Totally. It's not a video game or something. Yeah, it's a bit more like grounded.
Yeah, it's a very fun, organic way to do it. I thought it was a very classy way to class it up. I thought the girls' bathroom scene was really cool.
I hated that scene.
That's one that it's dividing fans, and I'm totally on your side, Boozy. I love that scene.
Oh no.
And I think it was definitely like surprising, because it's like, oh, they're really gonna show all this. It's not just an implication of it, but once again, it is kind of a fun idea where that once again is something you would probably see in real, it's a very believable scenario, which I like that again.
I like that part about it, but I just felt like the way it was executed really took me out of it. It just felt so different than the rest of the film. I think like
it did,
on its own, it makes sense, and like even you're describing, it's like, yeah, for sure, that like you're right, that makes sense. But
it's what Jason Hamill would call BDE, which is big Degrassi energy.
Ugh, I have to disagree. I mean, it depends.
Kyle's Degrassi meter wasn't going up.
Yeah,
that scene was like what took it from like a 4.5 to a 4 for me. It would have been like
really, it threw you off that much.
But
I really liked that it kind of had an element of, honestly, like The Fly towards the end, where it's him like progressing with the beast thing. It did give me kind of like the end of Fly energy with that. But anyway, fantastic film. Loved the ending.
So good. I was cheering.
It's honestly the perfect way to end it.
Yeah, it just opens it up for the next one, which we better get.
Yeah, and
I want
that's
more.
The thing is, like, it totally does open up for tons of stuff, and if they wanted to just leave it as well, it's a great way to end or bookend that as it is.
Yep, there's just no doubt about it. Candyman 2021 fucks. So that's
100%.
That's a full table thumbs up. So that's great to hear.
Absolutely.
It's very fuckable. If that's,
I would say it's pretty fuckable.
Awesome. Kyle, do you want to knock one off?
Okay. Well,
can I just mention one more thing quickly about? Sorry, I just want to go back for Candyman with Nia DaCosta. Is the next thing she's doing is like the Marvels, which I think is so wild that it's like, I think she's fantastic, and I think her direction is incredible, and what her vision for Candyman was. But it's going to be interesting how that'll translate over to this Marvel universe, where you've had so many different directors come through and have their own visions of this huge universe.
Welcome to the fucking world that we're living in, which sucks. Because coming from a fan who's I'm a fan of Marvel movies, it's so frustrating when we have these like really exciting new directors come out, or ones that really just start popping off and they immediately get pulled onto Marvel movies. Like even like Taika Waititi, as much as I love Thor Ragnarok, I'm like, I would way rather see a original Taika IP. And it just seems like that's the way it goes these days. They find all these directors who are just taking off, and they go, "Ooh, no, you're not going to get to do something original. Instead, you're doing Captain Marvel fucking 18 or whatever."
I was gonna say, does it feel like now that you mention it, I'm kind of thinking about that. Is like, does it feel like they're kind of taking away a lot of these directors from us as an audience, where it's like, hey, they're
absolutely.
Like if
I don't know,
like imagine if like Denis got picked up way earlier in his career.
Denis would not. Yeah, Denis
no.
would
I'm
never.
I'm giving that hypothetical. So play with, like, it's the idea of like, he puts out one and then we don't get all this other stuff because they scoop him up, and the next he's doing is like the next version of Garfield because it'll make a ton of money.
Denis Villeneuve's Garfield.
That'd be so awesome. Sold. I don't know. To be honest, I think like since we've kind of moved away from like the Joss Whedon days where like every Marvel film looked and felt the exact same. Not that
there was a while where it was all like that.
Yeah. Not that they're much different now, in all fairness, like, but it's
They are getting different. Like they at least
try.
I think like even like Chloe Zhao doing the Eternals, to me, like from what I've seen of that film, it looks like no other Marvel film I've really seen.
Looks like absolute dog shit.
Oh my god, get out of here! It looks beautiful. Those
think
vistas.
Eternals looks good,
bro. I'm sold, man.
Oh,
she
I
told me.
heard one person who said that Eternals looks good. I think it looks. Oh, yeesh.
I'll tell you this
know what
thing.
that is.
It looks boring. Therefore, I'm sold.
Yeah. So how many times have you watched Dune today, Kyle?
I'm watching it tomorrow morning. I can't
Me
wait.
too. I'm doing it tomorrow as well. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing a double feature tomorrow. I'm gonna see Dune and Titan. I cannot wait to see Titan.
Man, fuck.
I was so close. I made it up until yesterday without seeing the Dune trailer. I was trying to just go and see it. That's all I wanted.
Are you excited for Dune?
Yeah, of course I am.
I wouldn't have guessed that, but yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so I avoided it, and then sure enough, I go see Halloween Kills, and it plays before the fucking.
Man,
did they show the trailer?
Obviously, it looks fucking incredible, but
did they show the
I
trailer
just
for the Black Phone when you went and saw it?
The Black Phone.
I think that's what it's called. It's a new Ethan Hawke, Scott Derrickson.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they
Fuck,
did.
it looks good, and it's supposed to be unreal.
I was kind of like going back and forth of whether this was like the coolest thing I've ever the coolest idea or just really like over the top. But it does seem like a really cool idea when they break it down further in the trailer, and good for Ethan Hawke for being a fucking maniac.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Ethan Hawke channel his inner Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, he's got to get his what was his name?
Joker energy.
And I mean, you love Joker first and
I
foremost.
do love Joker. I like cinema, so of course I like Joker.
Oh God,
I respect cinema.
Like, are we gonna go on this forever and ever? Like,
okay, sorry.
I think. Okay, hold on. Just to go back to Candyman really quick. I think though, like when you mentioned like her next film, like the Marvels, Candyman was kind of a big movie though. To be honest, the more I think about it, like that was kind of like there were some crazy like action like set pieces and stuff. Like I feel like it is a big jump, but like the more I think about it, like I could see that film being interesting. Honestly, I think
I
like
have zero doubts that she's gonna crush it. Like, cause like I thought the direction in Candyman was so fucking good. Specifically, like some of the coolest kills up until recently. Like I've seen some amazing kills in 2021, and a couple of them are in Candyman.
No, totally, I'm with it.
But fuck yeah, love it. Okay, where were we at now? Let's go to Kyle.
I think the Joker came out, and we're going to talk about it.
You want to talk about Joker?
Never.
Let me pull up my thesis.
Of course, everyone who likes Joker has a thesis on Joker. So anyway, I have a Netflix-centric things to talk about, I guess. So I figured, have we talked about Squid Game on the show yet?
Nope, but I watched it all as well.
Yeah, we haven't recorded since that blew up.
So that's kind of the big thing we've missed, clearly, is Squid Game. Obviously, I assume like 90% of the people listening to this have seen the show. It's a cultural phenomenon at this point. But if you haven't seen it, highly, highly recommend watching the show. I won't spoil too much for it because it's very spoiler heavy.
Guess who out of the table has not seen it?
Good God. Okay. Sick. Well, okay, Boozy, you got to watch it. I think you'd get something out of it. It's like a very binge-worthy show at the very least.
If the world, if like I understand where, because like when I watched it, I had no idea that it was like this cultural phenomenon, because like the way it, like I was just off the internet for a little bit while I was moving, and that's when it came out. And then I just started watching it, and then like my roommates started talking about it, and everyone that I ran into on the street was talking about it. So I was just like, "Fuck yeah, I got to keep watching this."
Walking
but it is
down
one
the
of those
streets of
things
Vancouver.
where it's like,
Hey, you seen Squid Game?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's tough.
100% what it is. And I watched it as well, Kyle. Loved it. I thought it was fucking awesome.
I think you'll get something out of it, Boozy. Like, there's some crazy kills in this show. It's like
insane.
It's brutal at times, but it's also just like a good drama at other times.
It is wild that out of anything that's been released on Netflix so far, like this is the biggest thing.
It's surprising that it isn't. Like if you watch the show, you'll get why. Like
that's not a knock against it. It's just
I hear you.
Specific. It's not like Hunger Games or the next whatever Batman. Like
well, no, I see what you're saying. Like it's not attached to something that's like big in its own right. Like it's it's its own IP or whatever. But
that's my only beef with it, though, is that like a lot of people are acting like this is some kind of original concept and everything. It's like, man, there is like 5 other IPs that have this exact plot, and it's like it's just Koreans. Like Korea's just been ahead of us in every sense of the word when it comes to like imagination and creativity. That like mainstream like North American audiences think that this is some groundbreaking thing, which it's a really good show, but everything in the show has been done before. It's just done really well here.
Yeah, it's the execution of it all. I mean, you're right. Just nothing. Whatever, Hunger Games, Battle Royale, bunch of other stuff, obviously.
It's the characters that I loved.
Totally. I will say, though, I'm kind of in the camp of folks who don't really fuck with the ending very much. That's not super into it. But that being said, as a whole, definitely love the show.
So does that not like wreck the series, but does that like taint the series at all for you, that it does kind of have an anticlimactic?
Personally, I guess, like speaking for myself, like I don't want to say too much, but like I'll put it this way, like I like the series as it is, and if there's going to be more of the show, I'm not like I don't really need more of the show. I kind of just like the way it is.
You got what you needed.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Typical Kyle. He gets in, gets out. He gets what he needs, and he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
self-serving.
I'm a parasite, if you will. But yeah, big shout out to Squid Game. Obviously, I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm sure a lot of folks have heard about it already. The other thing that I'm not quite finished, but I'm working my way through You season 3 right now, which has been like this guilty pleasure show for me currently because I kind of fucking hated the first 2 seasons of You. I like this show.
I'm surprised you're watching it. I remember you just shitting on it.
It's like I love to hate it. I love to hate this show because it's like, to me, this is actually big Degrassi energy. If I'll be honest with you, like this is. To me, it's like
to me. I might actually watch it now.
It started out good. Like I thought the first season was actually really good. But
that's true. In hindsight,
just ridiculous. I jumped off when Chris D'Elia was in.
Well, I mean,
Chris D'Elia came in season 2 and he played a pedophile again.
Right.
Again.
He's getting typecast as a pedophile.
Well, because he
the
is
role
a pedophile.
you want to be.
I think you make a good point though, Mitch. Like the first season is kind of drastically better. So, but if you like the second season of the show, I think you'll get something out of this season. For me, it's just like a complete guilty pleasure. The script is bonkers, doesn't make any sense, and it's just like goes too far. But at the same time, like I just want to like see what Penn Badgley does. I don't know, like Gossip Girl. I don't know, like it's just. Something about it is alluring. Also, there's a You season 3 connection.
Remember Kyle saying, "Fuck you," the TV show. I remember this.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I'm watching You. Okay, things are rough. Clearly,
times have changed.
But there is a You season 3 connection to both of the Halloween films that we'll talk about later. So that's fun. Yeah, I guess I don't recommend this, I'll be honest. Do not watch You season 3. However, I am watching You season 3 and I'll report back with how I feel about it next episode.
That is the most confusing review because just at the end you hopped off.
Well,
yeah.
I'm telling you I'm watching it. I didn't tell you it was good.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
All right, I guess I'll knock one off as well. I I decided to give a movie a shot that a lot of our podcasting friends are very passionate about, which I didn't care for at all when I first saw it. And I know Boozy saw it, and I can't really remember what you thought of it. But with the release of Halloween Kills, I was kind of in the mood for some slashers. So I rewatched Hellfest from 2018. So this is one that's centered around a masked serial killer turns a horror-themed amusement park into his own personal playground, terrorizing a group of friends while the rest of the patrons believe that it is all part of the show.
Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah, it's all coming back.
So directed by Gregory Plotkin, and I know this is one that like a lot of people, it's one of those ones that got like horrendous reviews, but then there's like this cult following that just seems to keep building and building for it. And I think just a lot of people didn't see it, or if you were like me, like, man, I looked at, so 2018, I was a miserable fuck in 2018. Like, I was like super fucking depressed, and I know that doesn't give any, like, that's not any excuse for me having some, kind of shady reviews. But this movie's pretty awesome. Wow. Like, I really liked Hellfest, and I don't know what I bitched about the first time, because I think I remember feeling that there wasn't, because there was another, I think I just watched I Know What You Did Last Summer again, and I was just like, oh my god, another fucking, like, just a slasher movie with no kills, like, not for me. Hellfest has crazy kills. It has really good kills. And a really intriguing cast. Like there's a couple of characters that I, of course, kind of was irritated by, but welcome to slashers. That's kind of a trope in the subgenre. But upon rewatch, I think Hellfest is going to be one that might grow for me every year, and I might check it out again next Halloween. It's very high on the spooky vibes. Another reason why I wanted to watch it again is because I went to Man Farms in Abbotsford, BC, which was it's known as the scariest forest in Canada, and they have a haunted corn maze, a haunted forest, and then
who haunts the corn maze?
Corn maze was all clowns, and then the one is called Pitch Black, where they basically just take you through like 40 fucking sea cans, and you're going in and out and around, and it's like. It's one of these ones where it's the first time I ever had to sign an agreement to, like, before I go in. Like, I had to sign a waiver, and, like, they're allowed to touch you and everything. Best part about that is they only touch you in one of them. And when I went with, I went with Nicholas Humphreys, our friend of the show, and his sister Diana and our friend Corey. And we were all, like, really concerned about people touching us because we're like, I don't know, man, especially after COVID. But the best part about it is, like, we actually really liked when they were touching us. We're like, it feels good to be touched again. Like, there was a couple times where, like, they weren't, like, pulling you away or anything. It was like they caressed your neck, and we're like, oh my god, just do it again. Like, it just feels good to be felt again.
Did they? So you got caressed by clowns?
Wow.
Yeah, and demons and ghouls and stuff. It was awesome. Like, so we were a little hesitant because tickets for this thing was after taxes $108 for 3 mazes.
Shit.
But this was 2 hours of straight mazes, and it was some of the best ones I've ever been to. And like that's coming from like it's kind of similar to the Universal Horror Nights, where you go for partially the spectacle, but like actually the Universal Horror Nights ones, Halloween Horror Nights, those are more spectacle and just enjoyable to walk through because they're so elaborate. And this was genuinely scary. Like, we were all sweating. Like, we were having a very good time. Long story short, I wasn't even planning on talking about that, but it made me want to watch Hellfest. So I went home that night and I gave it another watch. And I if you're a slasher fan and you haven't seen it and you're looking for something to get you in the spooky spirit, I would recommend giving it a shot. And even like Boozy, because you watched it too. I'm pretty sure both of us didn't like
it at all.
Yeah, man, like, you should maybe give it another look at some point, because there's a lot of Boozy-isms in there too. Like,
I feel like maybe I was also a 2018 prick, so I mean, I'm open to watching that.
I think we fell victim to 2018 prickness. You and I both.
Guys, we took so much for granted. Now we have COVID where we're all just pricks anyway. But before we had no reason to really be pricks.
Yeah. I think I was cool in 2018, but maybe now I'm a prick. I think I've reverted.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, though, Kyle, I do think there's a good chance you would actually enjoy Hellfest.
Well, shout out to Daniel Epler, who is really a champion for this film on Letterboxd. So, I mean, hey.
Oh, yeah. He's the main one I was talking about. But I know a bunch of, I know Lindsay Wilkins, Matt Bledsoe, Chris Hurtado, like all that whole group really enjoys Hellfest.
Sick.
And I had felt like kind of a prick because I was just like, well, what did I miss that you guys all picked up on?
What's in the Kool-Aid?
Yeah, there's an actor in this film named Aaron Gillespie, so we should love this film.
Isn't that? Oh yeah, from Under Oath.
It's not the drummer of Under Oath. There's just another guy named Aaron Gillespie.
Yeah, and Tony Todd is in this one as well.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Hellfest. Dug it.
Beautiful.
So it's one of the last thing I'll say about it is maybe one of the things I wasn't crazy about is I'm a full-grown adult now, and these slasher movies are centered around teenagers. So it's like no, I'm not meaning that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand. Like, I'm older now. I am not one of these kids. So, like, those teenagers are very annoying. Like, there's a couple of them that are very annoying. But that's just, like,
I think we're just getting older, Mitch.
Well, isn't that funny, though? It almost feels like it should make more sense. Because in theory, like, you're of the age now where you should be writing the words they're saying on screen. So,
it's true. Yeah.
So I don't know what to say.
I was really hoping that Mitch would have just left his review. It's just like, one thing I didn't like, I'm getting older. I have one more thing. So this one is brought to you by our friend Justin Cook over at Arrow. This is called On the Trail of Bigfoot, The Journey.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a nice documentary, and it actually was filmed during quarantine, like right at the start. The director is also the writer, the cinematographer, the producer, which is none other than 2017's Cryptozoologist of the Year, Seth Breedlove. Yeah, give it up for 2017, guys. Yep. Anyway, this guy pumps out a ton of these. He has his own company, him and his brother. They get a bunch of people and go out and do these like Sasquatch find things. And I know this is a very niche thing, but it actually was kind of I've seen a lot of these Sasquatch movies, and I'm sure if I actually would have paid attention, Seth probably has made a ton of them, just because he's done like cryptozoology documentaries on like everything. He's doing one on like the Mothman and stuff like that, which whatever, he can do his thing. But this one was kind of cool in the way that they were talking about migratory happenings of Sasquatch, because they do travel up to BC. Mitch, you might see a Sasquatch.
I've seen a couple.
But I think it was the most humanizing documentary I've seen about cryptozoologists and those people who are generally considered like nutbags that go out and do this. Because it was literally like just a bunch of dudes talking about how they spend the time doing this because they had like an experience with it, and they were talking about how most of the people who have actually like come forward talking about experiences have like it actually ruined their lives because people think they're fucking crazy. But then like some of them just want to see if it's real and try to find out. So it was kind of cool. It's like one guy they interviewed was just talking about, he's like, I just really like the camaraderie. We come out here on the weekends and we all just, I don't know, it was just like, it was very wholesome in a fun way, where it's like these grown men wandering around being like, where's Sasquatch?
Is it Meth Syndicate who makes the shirts that say like, I sucked Bigfoot's dick and all I got was this lousy shirt? It's like, I sucked the Mothman's dick.
You need that shirt, Boozy. You need that.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I'm just gonna say this now. This is what the kids would call no cap. As soon as we're in a zone where it's like basically we've gotten over COVID, I'm getting I survived COVID and all I got was this stupid tattoo.
Okay, put that in stone. We need that.
Yeah. We need that written down.
Noted.
Now I just got to make it through.
Okay. Well, we do. So far, so
get it as a cheek. Get it as a cheek tattoo, and then move out to Vancouver. There's lots of cheek tattoos in Vancouver.
Big time cheek energy out here.
Okay.
So anyway, that's all I'll say about On the Trail of Bigfoot, The Journey. Shout out to Justin Cook over at Arrow Video.
Huge.
Awesome. And shout out Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Journey to the Center of the Earth.
3D.
Wait, was that Brendan Fraser?
That's Fraser. You're thinking of Escape from Witch Mountain 3D. That's what you're thinking.
Oh my God. How could I mix
those
up?
Have you heard The Rock rap?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
I have not.
Shout
Mitch,
out.
you don't know about this?
Shout out 10 Rock.
I've been missing a lot lately.
Dude, The Rock made a rap song.
Is it good? Is
It's
it
a
as
feature.
good as is he in Jumanji?
Yes.
Yeah,
He's the Manji.
He's the Manji.
Not going there.
Kyle's like putting it together. Oh, wait.
Where were we?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson rap.
Right. He's in a Tech 9 song.
Ooh,
What?
I've been listening to lots of Tech 9 recently.
Yeah, he's in a Tech 9
What
track.
the fuck happened to you?
No,
Yeah,
shout out. You know who I actually got into that's like legit awesome that I like a lot of horror fans, they're probably going to be listening and being like, how the fuck did Mitch not know about this? But Brother Lynch Hung? Brother Lynch Hung, do you know who that is?
No idea.
No.
He's like the guy
I
who
thought you were going
created
to say
horrorcore.
Twisted.
And he's fucking awesome. But there's a song called I See You where he's snorting coke and acting like he's Jason Voorhees, and it's very rank. But if you're into that spooky Halloween rap, like all of it, it's like, he is features with Tech 9 and shit. I don't know. Shout out Dave East. Who's going to go
Shout out
next?
Dave
Should I
East.
go next?
So, Mitch, would you say you're a technician now?
Yeah.
I'm a technician. Did I ever tell you I got offered backstage tickets to meet Tech 9? And I was like, fuck no. What? Why would I go and meet Tech 9? What would I say to Tech 9? Like,
That's a good point.
Little Tech
Imagine-
9 story as well. I worked at a show he was playing. I was loading gear for it.
was it the
And-
Odeon?
Yeah.
That's the one I was supposed to go backstage for. And I was like, no.
Yeah. So I actually, while we were unloading, their bus was parked over there too, and I saw the what would you call it? The gaggle of people that were getting invited onto the bus.
Right.
And
Yes.
I'm sure they had a very fun time, and I hope everybody showered after.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That sounds
After the
about right.
after the gaggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, should I name off another one, or Kyle, do you have any more?
Well, the other one I have is 2018 Halloween, so I don't know. Maybe you should go then, and I can talk about
I
that
feel
last.
like you should just tack that on in the main feature.
Okay, let's do
honestly.
that. That works.
We'll do,
That works.
We'll do a quick. We'll let Kyle review Halloween 2018 at the beginning of the main feature, and then we'll just recap our thoughts on it quickly and get into it. We won't spend an hour on it. But yeah, I have a couple more that I'm going to knock off. 2 TV series. So the one I'm going to go with now is Midnight Mass, the new the new 8-part series, or 7-part, 8-part. Whatever. It's been like a month since I've watched it, but Midnight Mass, written and directed by Mike Flanagan. Everyone knows on the show I'm a huge Mike Flanagan fan. This is something that's been talked about ad nauseum at this point over the last month, so I'm sure some people are kind of sick of hearing it. But I'll just throw my hat in the ring and agree that this show is a goddamn masterpiece. Like, it is phenomenal. This might be the best thing Mike Flanagan's ever done, and I enjoy everything he's done.
Okay, so I have no idea what this is.
Oh, you would love Midnight Mass. Like, dude, holy fuck, it is so good.
Yeah, dude, I have no idea what this is.
Oh, dude, you should. Well, you have my Netflix, so watch it on Netflix. It's awesome. You will love it.
I do feel like it
I
kind of went
actually
under.
got my own Netflix now, but thank you.
Oh, shit!
Did you? Damn.
I also have my own Shudder account too.
Whoa. I was
Yeah.
only keeping that for you. I was just paying for Shudder for Boozy. Okay.
I hope not.
Should I keep talking about Midnight Mass?
Please do.
Yes,
And
please. Sorry, I was just wanting to know what it was.
An isolated island community experiences miraculous events and frightening omens after the arrival of a charismatic, mysterious young priest. So it's obviously going to be a while until you see the druid's hand, but there's a lot of similarities in this, and it's one of those. It's my first experience of being like, oh fuck, like people are going to think I ripped him off, but like we had already filmed it and done everything. Obviously, this is a million times better than anything I could ever create. But there are some really.
Don't say that.
But it goes to show though that how much of a huge influence Mike Flanagan's voice is on me, and I love his filmmaking. I specifically love his writing and his monologues and the dialogue that he has between characters. I feel like he wraps the conversation of religion in the last episode. Like he mic drops it in the most respectful way to every party. To people who are, either atheists or agnostic or highly religious, like Catholic, or they even talk about like the Quran and all like the different kinds of religions and Islam and everything. And it's a phenomenal, beautiful show. There's a couple genuinely creepy moments, just like Mike Flanagan does. And it's one of those ones that if you still know nothing about it, I would highly recommend to start watching it and let it surprise you.
Great.
Because it's going to go to a direction that I know you're going to love. Like, you'll be like, oh, damn, I didn't know it was this kind of show. And when it does...
And it's on Netflix?
It is, yeah. It's the first couple episodes are a little slower, but like that's just, Flanagan's, he's taking his time. I know this was his passion project. This is what he's been wanting to do since he first started making films. And he's been working on this thing for over 10 years now, as far as I know. And he just absolutely knocked it out of the park. I thought the show was brilliant. So I'm loved it.
Check this out.
Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. I put it... There was a little while there, like after I had finished it, I was like, am I just riding the high of Midnight Mass? Like, is it actually better than The Haunting of Hill House? Because prior to this, I thought that might be his masterpiece. But they're both just so damn good. Like, they're like right on par. Like, I love both of them. But Midnight Mass is a quick 7-episode series, so give it a watch if you haven't. I have one more series that I can talk about, but do you guys have other ones that you got some more?
I'm done.
You're all done? You guys are done?
Yep.
All right, I'm just going to quickly talk about the first 2 episodes of Chucky. So there's the new Sci-Fi Network, Don Mancini written and directed. Well, I know he did the first episode, but this is a continuation of Don Mancini's story, and it stars not 1 but 2 Devon Sawas. So that's always nice. It's always nice getting into.
Do you guys follow Devon Sawa on Twitter?
I do. He also lives in Vancouver, pretty close to me, apparently.
Oh, man. His Twitter is king shit. He's the best.
I know. Anyways, the show has Brad Duraff returning as Chucky, and they have gone back to like the original good guy doll look, which looks awesome. This show has surpassed my expectations, both episodes so far. I'm just kind of in love with it. Like, I was not expecting much, especially after Cult of Chucky, which was Don Mancini's last film. I really, really did not care for Cult of Chucky, and that's maybe the only Child's Play movie that I don't care for. I do love like Curse of Chucky he did, and there's another one. No, that's it. Yeah. Either way, this series is it's really great so far, and it's got some really some great social commentary that's being written from the right person. As you know, Don Mancini has been an openly gay man in the industry for a long time. None of his social commentary feels like tacked on. It feels so authentic and true to the story that he's trying to tell, and I think it's actually kind of brilliant how he's using Chucky as a catalyst for a lot of these conversations. Chucky's hilarious as usual. It's great hearing Brad Dourif back in the trap. I did enjoy that remake or reimagining of Child's Play that Child's Play purists hate. I like that movie, but this is definitely.
I thought that movie was great.
It is good. Yeah, I really like it. And I watched that again, too, but I've already talked about that many times. But yeah, Chucky, it's only 2 episodes in so far. It airs every Tuesday, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you are interested at all. Because, yeah, it's great so far. Really into it.
And that's great praise coming from you, because around here, you are the biggest Chucky fan by far.
It's one of my favorite franchises. Like, Cult of Chucky is the weakest one, in my opinion, and... Actually, that's the only one that I would say that I have a tough time getting through. Like, even the lesser installments of Chucky or Child's Play, I love. Like, I love Child's Play 3, and everyone hates that movie. But yeah, I really, really enjoy it so far. So, looking forward to it continuing. Awesome. Well, do you guys want to get on to our main topic? Talk about some Michael Myers? Head on over to Haddonfield?
I actually have one thing we were going to talk about before we get on there. We had mentioned, let's talk quickly about Last Night in Soho, the trailer for that, and the trailer for Scream, most importantly, I feel like.
I highly fuck with both trailers. Like, I cannot wait for both of those movies. I think they both look great. But Last Night in Soho is, I know that's one of those ones where you're going to have to see the whole movie to fully get Edgar Wright's, vision, obviously. The early word for Last Night in Soho is that it's his best movie. So I can't wait for that. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. And just my quick thoughts on Scream. I think Scream looks fucking great. It's exactly what I want. It looks like a ton of fun. And also, I'm enjoying that they're not treating it as a joke like the fourth one. Like they're playing it with a straight face, and like they're not I'm not even meaning that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying, like, this is a horror movie. It's not comedy. It's not like, you know, Wes Craven, like, God rest his soul, love that man, love him, but it's not Wes Craven making social commentary on teenagers when he's, you know, 4 years away from dying. So it's
I was a teenager when I saw that film, and it worked. So I'll put it that way.
I take no joy in not liking a Scream movie. Like, I love Scream with all my heart. But no, I think this one looks great. Nev Campbell back in the trap. If they kill her, I'm out. You can't kill her. That's going
to be it for you. They're not going to kill her.
You can't kill her. Even though they've killed Dewey like how many times, and he keeps coming back.
Maybe they have like the Scream
Lazarus
universe
pit?
Use like a pet cemetery, but it's just for Dewey.
That would be great.
Yeah. Or the DC Lazarus pit. It's for Dewey, or bring back Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah,
Malibu's most wanted.
So I just have to say, like, Last Night in Soho, it looks great. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I think that I'm gonna check it out just because of Edgar Wright, and less for, like, I don't know. It just doesn't, the story, I'm just kind of like whatever. And I feel like with like every trailer we complain about, it gives so much of it away that it's like, okay, I understand that this is your only objective. I'm sure there's way more to the story, but it does feel like it gives a ton away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then the other one is, and also for the Last Night in Soho, they were like, hey, look at all this stuff we did with mirrors. And I'm like, you guys are great.
That's Italian shit.
It is. That's true. Yeah.
This is clearly his Giallo film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it looks great. I think
100%. And
heavy
as far as Scream goes, I will definitely agree with what Mitch is saying about this. Looks like the meanest ghost face ever, and I like that. I like that it is gritty, and it's kind of fun to see all these series come back with a more mature, aggressive tone to them. Like you'll look at like Halloween 2018. You look at the most recent Child's Play. You know, and there's a ton more. You know, there's a ton more examples that you go through. But everything's kind of getting this meaner vibe to it, and I'm definitely here for it. And it is cool seeing a lot of the people you love from the Scream series back in it. And I'm sure there's, like, I haven't really looked at what people are saying about it, because who really gives a shit at the end of the day. But whether people are going to be annoyed that that they're bringing back like Sydney and all these characters, or whether people are excited about that, because it can go on one hand where it's like, oh, you guys are going to drag out the same shit, but it's also fun that way with the story that Scream tells. So I'm for that.
Scream is Sydney. Like, Scream, you need Sidney Prescott in that. But that's the other thing too, is that they leave so many. The most exciting thing about Scream, and it always has been that way, is guessing who's going to be the killer, or who could be the killer, and because you know that there's a chance it could be more than one person, because they subvert so many expectations in the first one. But there's a couple moments in this trailer where I'm like, first of all, my prediction is it's either. Because it's fun guessing who the killer is, but the Quaid kid
first.
Dennis Quaid's kid, who's in The Boys, he's either going to be the killer, or Kyle Gallner, who is in one of my favorite movies from the last couple of years, Dinner in America. He was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He was in Haunting in Connecticut. He's that guy who just always looks sad.
Is it the Haunting in Connecticut kid?
Yeah. He's in Scream,
I know what you're talking about.
And they show him, and he looks like a young Billy Loomis. So I'm curious, and he only has one name on the credits for IMDb. So I'm wondering if he's like maybe Billy's little brother or his cousin or something. Because it's like maybe Billy got Sydney's mom pregnant. Who knows? Could be.
Mitch just gave away the whole movie right there. That'd be hilarious. They would come back to it. It's like,
I like the prediction though. I like the prediction.
No, I love that.
It's like Diego talking on our M. Night Shyamalan episode where we were like literally an hour away from seeing Split, and he was talking about how he really wants to see a sequel to Unbreakable, and I was like, man, that will never happen. It will never happen.
Classic.
Okay, Kyle, your thoughts?
Well, Last Night in Soho, I mean, it just looks stylish as hell. Like, I mean, I think that's what the film has going for at the end of the day. I think if this is maybe not the movie for some folks, I think it'll at least be nice to look at. But for me, I think this is like an interesting approach that like Edgar Wright's taking, and it honestly feels wildly different than anything he's done. At the same time, it like makes perfect sense, which is what's awesome about it, and it's why I'm excited about it. But it's really exciting to see him kind of like, I don't know, stretch and flex some muscles that I think we all know he's always had, but is just like trying to explore through horror and like a horror thriller, I guess. But like, I mean, the man made Shaun of the Dead, so like clearly he like knows what he's doing in this, right?
Oh, he knows horror so well. Like, you can just tell from his filmmaking. And that's why I really can't wait, because I was assuming that there was still going to be some like Edgar Wright humor.
Me too.
For all I know, there's still going to be. But in the trailer, it does not look that way. Like, it looks like he's trying to make like a legit straight up horror movie. And I can't wait. I can't wait for that. Anything to wash the bad taste of Baby Driver out my mouth.
Yeah, that's it. I think like Baby Driver, like for whatever you want to say about that film, but like the way that kind of like bridged the gap, I think, between like, I don't know, the Cornetto trilogy type of Edgar Wright films and maybe like Last Night in Soho, it kind of made sense, like the direction he was going in. I see a little bit more Baby Driver than I do anything else in this, just based off the trailer. But definitely excited. Yeah, I'm stoked on it. I mean, I think the trailer was pretty solid. Like, I think it kind of gave me a little bit, like, I hadn't seen anything about it. I've actually been trying to be a little bit in the dark on it, but it's coming out really soon, so I figured, fuck it, let's talk about it. And yeah, I'm sold. I don't even know if I'm gonna like the plot, but I'm there for it. Scream 5, I'm a little nervous about the January release, because that just always makes me nervous. That might mean nothing, but to me it's like,
there was a pandemic.
Fuck you, it's January.
but still,
like, Halloween Kills was supposed to come out a year ago,
but it came out in October.
and like so many great movies have come out in January.
True, but I'm just nervous. It makes me nervous. What can I say?
What movie dropped in January we went to see, Mitch, and we just like lost our shit?
Well,
Underwater comes
Split.
to mind. Hey, it's not that it can't happen.
Came out in January.
It's just those are almost the exception to the rule, unfortunately.
I understand where Kyle's coming. Maybe they're trying to break that cycle.
It always seems
maybe it's a myth and it's all in your guys' head.
Nah, there's way too many shitty January releases, I'll be honest.
Because Spiral
make January great again.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, as far as the trailer goes, though, like, it had all the parts that it needs. Like, I mean, it has all the elements that should be there in a Scream film. I guess my thing is, I'm just curious, like, what is this film going to bring that's going to make it feel fresh and not just a Scream movie in 2022? Like, I guess I'm curious about that. Like, what is this thing going to be bringing to the table that makes it exciting, just more so than just it existing, more or less? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm curious.
I feel like it's probably going to eliminate some main characters. I think that's going to be part. Anytime you want to bring a series back that has any sort of lasting impact, somebody's going to get killed off.
Yeah.
How many times have they killed Dewey at this point?
Will it kill him again?
But I like what you mentioned, because about bringing up, like, kind of maybe it's like a darker approach, which I think the trailer, or a more mature approach, whatever you want to call it. The trailer definitely alludes to that. So if that's like the direction they're going for, then like, I'm all for it. I'm just curious what.
I think there's gonna be some big time.
I'm curious what it's going for. Like, I'm always excited for more Scream, but I think I'm just curious about the purpose. I'm curious what the purpose is besides it just existing.
I know, and that's something that Scream 4 was missing as well. That the other ones tackle so well, though, is like the commentary on horror movies at the time, and like what's happening in horror at the time. And horror is bigger than ever the last couple of years, so it's going to be really exciting to see how Ghostface is going to incorporate that conversation. Like, I really hope that we have conversations in the movie that are like going extremely meta, and maybe they're talking about Get Out or Hereditary or something like that. Like,
that would be great. That would be great.
Because there has been if we're being real, like, as far as slashers go, it's been Halloween and like Hellfest, and then I'm sure there's been some dog shit slashers that we have already forgotten about. Like, because it's hard to make slashers these days make an impact.
But
they got to really do something new.
I think you mentioned like a good.
Yeah, it's like, how many times can a guy hold a knife?
A lot, apparently. But that's a good point, though, Mitch. Like, I think, like, if they were to take an approach where maybe it's not just slashers that they're pulling from, but they pull from other, like, I don't know, types of horror films and something in the genre that's been impactful in the past 10, 15 years, whatever. That would be like, if that's the approach, then I'm fucking stoked. That'd be great. To me, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, it sounds like we have some exciting months ahead of us for new horror movies. Do you guys want to talk about Michael Myers killing essential workers or what?
That was actually the alternate title, but I would love to.
Okay, we'll be right back talking about... We'll see you on the other side.
Here? It's Halloween. We've been trick-or-treating. Are you alone?
There's a creepy man in a white mask.
Where?
And he keeps, like, trying to play hide and seek with us.
Where did you see him? Look! Run! Go home now!
Unlock the door! No! Come on!
We killed Michael. My grandmother set the fire.
No one told you.
Told me what?
Michael Myers is alive.
A man couldn't have survived that fire. "40 years ago, the boogeyman came for us. We are the survivors of Michael Myers.
Lori, what do we do?
We fight.
Mom,
Our family will kill him.
we're gonna hunt him down and we're gonna put an end to this.
He is not gonna stop killing until we stop him.
If you track Michael's victims, that's a straight line to Michael's childhood home.
Someone's in our house.
He is coming for me, but I'm coming for him.
You wanna kill someone? Take me! Michael!
I want to take his mask off and see the life leave his eyes.
And you have reached our main feature presentation, in which we are going to be discussing Halloween Kills from 2021, which was directed by David Gordon Green and was written by Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, and Scott Teems. So the film is starring, once again, we have Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role as Laurie Strode, Judy Greer playing one of Jamie Lee Curtis's many film canon daughters as Karen. It's not Jamie Lloyd, and it's not whatever Josh Hartnett's name was in H2O, because she's had a couple kids in that canon. But then we also got Andy Matichuk playing Allison, and James Jude Courtney behind the mask as Michael Myers. So, before we get started here, let's just catch up on the 2018 version. I know Boozy and I have talked about that movie ad nauseum at this point, so we can touch on our thoughts a little bit after Kyle offers us his review, because we have no idea what you thought of it. Obviously, you weren't going into this the way that Boozy and I were with the level of excitement and Michael Myers. Like, we are Michael Myers fanboys here, so... It was a very, very, very big deal when that movie came out in 2018.
That being
for
said,
us.
feel free to speak freely.
Noted.
Kyle.
Noted. Okay, so I went into this with an open mind. I think, I don't have much of a connection to Halloween, to be completely honest. I've seen the original. That's my only knowledge of Halloween. So I really don't know any of the canon and non-canon aspects beyond that. So that whole part of this film and the next film we're going to talk about, not super relevant to me. So I'm excited to hear you guys kind of talk about that. But for me, I was just okay, well, we got a 2018 version of a horror classic. It's a sequel, I think. When I finally watched it, that was confirmed for me. Also, just hilarious in my mind that this is the guy that made Your Highness. Shout out Your Highness. And Dad McBride, also star of Your Highness, penning this film.
Kenny Powers.
Kenny Powers, exactly. I think, just to cut it straight a little bit, it's a solid flick. I enjoyed it. I really liked it, actually. I think...
Whoa. Was not honestly, Kyle, just real transparent moment. Was not I was expecting you to be like, you know what, it's not my thing, but I get it, people. No,
this was cool. I think I dug the overall vibe. That's probably the best way I can put it. I liked sort of what it was going for, where like it was clearly like an homage in some regards to the original, with like some a little bit more obvious than others, like with like the opening title credits and things like that, and the score as well being a new score but inspired of course by the original, and I would imagine scores that have gone throughout the series. The music is fucking
also done by John Carpenter and his son.
Right. So the man who did the original and the man who directed the original film. So there's great
very, very big deal that he came back for that, though. That was like a huge deal for Halloween fans, especially.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, because he's notoriously just tried keeping himself away from all those remakes and all that kind of stuff, and just films in general. He just doesn't give a shit about it. But him coming back to do the score and to executive produce 2018 was a very big deal and a huge stamp of approval from the master himself.
I'm happy
and I mean also with what he said about what he said about the Rob Zombie films as well. Not only has he stayed away from Halloween, he's been critical of Halloween.
Well, that's interesting because I'm glad he did that, because for me the score in this movie is fucking awesome. It slaps. It's great. The music is awesome. And there's a lot of things that honestly just work for me here. Like I found, like, at first I thought I was gonna hate the podcaster like fucking angle of it all, and it is it corny? Yes. Does it make sense? Sure. Does it work? It works. It works fine enough. Like it's like, yes, podcasting is dangerous work. Clearly, we know this, and it makes sense. It's not super corny, and I think it's funny. If I watched it in 2018, I probably would have thought it was worse. For some reason, I feel like since it's like aged, like since podcasting is like not really going anywhere, and obviously it was existing for years in 2018 already. For some reason, 3 years later, it feels more normal to me. Like, I don't know, it worked. I liked that. I thought I was gonna hate that. Jamie Lee Curtis is probably the part of this film that I don't really fuck with, unfortunately. Like her performance is just a little too heavy-handed for me. I do like the angle they take with her though, being like this doomsday prepper type personality. I think that's a great angle. I think the direction they took it really worked for me. I liked everything they set up. Not everything kind of worked for me, but like the seed that was planted for this film really worked for me. And honestly, the last act, it was like really solid tension. I was generally spooked, and everything that they had built kind of worked. Do I think this film's a masterpiece? No, but do I think it mostly works? And would I honestly watch it again? Yeah, for sure.
I have quick questions for you, Kyle. What did you think? Like, I know that it's probably been a while since you've seen the original Halloween, but how did you feel about like the Michael Myers that they portrayed in this? And the other question that you can answer kind of quickly is, what did you think of the humor in 2018, and how did it work for you? Because there are a couple like standout, I would say, comedy moments in that.
The way they handled Michael, I thought like. They made him out to be this, like, I guess I didn't know exactly what angle they were going to take with him, and as the film progressed, he just kind of became this. He became the boogeyman, which is what he is, and he doesn't do a lot in theory. I think I would appreciate a few more kills. I think that's something I probably could have got out of it. But what he does do, it works. He's kind of this like just strong presence, and you see a lot of him, which. At first, I wasn't sure if I really dug, but as the film went on, it kind of works. I think there might be some moments in the film where it could have been a bit more reserved, and that might have worked. But overall, I kind of dug the way they portrayed him. That opening scene, or about the opening scene, like the prison scene, I guess. Yeah,
the
like
courtyard.
in the psychiatric hospital when they're in the courtyard. Yeah. Like things like that.
Where all the deranged people are barking like dogs.
Like there's some things like that are a little like. They're bordering on campy throughout the film. Things like that are definitely campy, but the overall tone of it kind of works. Like it's generally serious for the most part. I kind of like that dramatic angle mixed in with those bits of humor. And when the humor does come in, like honestly, a lot of it didn't work for me, but for the most part, like it felt natural at least. Like it was one of those things where I didn't find it funny, but like that doesn't mean no one else did. And I think the film generally flowed and had a proper pace throughout. So I didn't know if I was going to I had a feeling I wasn't going to love this film, if I'll be honest with you, but I also wasn't necessarily expecting to hate it. And I guess I'm in the middle of the road a little bit. Like, generally speaking, I thought it was pretty solid. Like, I think the approach they took was maybe nothing like too gutsy, but at the same time, I think it generally just pretty solid.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think I'm going to recap first because I want to leave our listeners off on a bit more of a positive note because I know Boozy enjoyed this one more than I did. So I just to quickly get my thoughts out of the way, you couldn't have met someone more excited for Halloween 2018, and I don't think it's a piece of shit. I don't hate it or anything like that. I just fail to see the point and the reason for it existing in terms of the Halloween franchise, just because they made such a huge deal about retconning every single film in the franchise except for that one, and then they just went ahead and did the same thing that they retconned in. So that was an issue for me. The whole Dr. Sartain thing just leaves the worst taste in my mouth. Like, I hated that whole subplot. Michael looks great. I think James Jude Courtney is such a good version of the Shape. I think he's great in the movie, and I think I'm, especially after seeing this second part of this trilogy that we're about to see, I'm just not convinced that they fully had an idea of what they were going for in the first place. And that's something, like, there's such, we'll get into kills, and I'm looking forward to talking about it because I haven't talked about it with anybody yet. But like, Michael Myers is my favorite horror icon, you know, like, it's right up there with Freddy, and but I love even the bad installments of Halloween. I'm forgiving of, and nostalgia plays a large part of that. I can admit that. Like, I know that Halloween 4 isn't an incredible movie, but it is to me. Like, I just really like that movie. I know Michael's mask is all fucked up, but the spirit of Halloween is there.
Yeah.
And I think they sort of got the spirit right, and that's the best thing I can say about the 2018 one, is they got the spirit kind of, like, it justified its existence in that point. But like you said, Kyle, you thought that Jamie Lee Curtis was the weakest part for you, or something that you didn't gel with as much as you thought you would.
Yeah.
Ditto. Like, it was such a big deal for me to have Jamie Lee Curtis coming back as Laurie Strode, having that character, and knowing that they were going to go and take her into maybe a Sarah Connor type style story arc where she does become this doomsday prepper, and you see her just annihilating those fucking dummies, like shooting, and she's got a scout's aim, like, she's just unreal. And then the last half an hour of the movie, she just gets manhandled in the dark, and it's like, that was kind of annoying for me because I wanted more from that. But also, I was very, like, with Halloween movies especially, I'm too passionate. Like, I care too much about this franchise, and I think that's the problem with Halloween fans in general, is we care too much. So whether you love this new version or you hate it, like, you have strong opinions about it, and it's because, like, for me, I want the idea of Michael Myers returning after all this time, like, since, like, I don't even count Rob Zombie's movies, because as much as, like, you know, people have heard me shit on Rob Zombie enough at this point. If you like his movies, that's great. Good for you. I think his Halloween 2 has some amazing slasher moments. I think it's a terrible Michael Myers movie, but it's a great slasher movie. Like, it has some really cool shit in there. This one the 2018 one played it too safe for me to justify its existence. And especially after the years and years of hype from John Carpenter, David Gordon Green, Jason Blum, Danny McBride, saying that they have this original crazy idea that they're going to be, the only way that they're going to do Halloween again or bring Michael back is if they have the best idea for it. And 2018 wasn't it for me. Like, it just didn't really gel for me. But I think that it has its redeeming moments. Like you said, the score is awesome. I think it's shot really well.
Looks
that's something that Halloween Kills. I think Halloween Kills is shot really well as well. But yeah, I just don't know about. I don't know. I don't know. I'm lukewarm. I'm very lukewarm in terms of Halloween canon. I would say 2018 is like probably 5 or 6 for me in stance of like the ones that I enjoy the most. And that can seem insane for some people, but like I said, nostalgia does play a factor when it comes to something that I've been obsessed with my entire life. But yeah, so 2018, it was a big meh for me. But I was very, 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 very excited for Kills. I'm still super excited for Ends, just because I always like seeing Michael on the big screen. But Boozy, you were a big fan of 2018. Let's hear about it.
Yeah,
quickly.
I just want to say that I think I'm once again I'm kind of shocked that Kyle did give it such a good review.
I liked it. I thought it was I think what it tried to do, it mostly accomplished.
Kyle And you don't have that Halloween.
I really
fanboy
don't. I
in
really
you
don't.
Where you're not gonna get like, yeah. So you're kind of the perfect demographic for that.
Well, like Mitch, if you were to ask like in your general, like, did you think he was gonna like this? Like
I thought Kyle was gonna hate both of these movies. Like I thought for sure he was gonna hate both of them.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, 2018, I really enjoy, like Mitch's kind of foreshadowed to, I really enjoy 2018. I think that their idea for how to move it forward, I actually really enjoy, and how they get certain things there. Like I do like that the podcasters are the ones to bring the mask and kind of get it started, because I think that idea is they build in, they're talking about the story of Michael Myers, so they build in that lore for you that maybe catches you up if for whatever reason you don't have any background to it. And I think it continuously adds from that, and it does kind of make Michael more what you want him to be, which is kind of like your Jaws character.
Totally.
He's the shark.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I like that idea, and I like that there wasn't like a whole big thing about like he did seem fairly directionless for a lot of it, and that's on purpose, and I do actually enjoy that. But yeah, and I think that like I'm not gonna argue with Mitch, because I like playing off the points that you guys brought up, and I do like that I find that this movie continuously legitimizes Michael as this force, and I think like what you're saying about like Laurie getting manhandled is not as much a testament to her being an idiot, but also just kind of the force of what Michael is, that he, you can put whatever in the way, and whether or not that shows that way, that's kind of how I interpreted it to be.
You're entirely right, and also because they make her such a basket case in the movie that like of course she's going to drop the ball when she's in front of him, so that is something where like you are right.
Well, kind of like they were. That's what I like about that idea is like if you have this foil that like Laurie perfectly knew to put like a pit with a bunch of sticks or whatever, it takes away the legitimacy of Michael.
You mean like
and
the basement?
Yeah. Well, and I actually don't mind the basement idea, honestly.
Oh, I don't mind that either.
Yeah, but I think that they did some good stuff with that, and I like that they still kept the main elements of ideas from the first Halloween, like Michael dressing people up, that's part of his thing, is he turned, he decorates you.
Plays with his food.
I kind of feel like they were sparring, like it was really kind of this back and forth. That's actually how I...
Yeah, it just, for me, like, it's just always been a wet dream of mine to imagine Laurie Strode just running a fucking train on Michael. Like, I would have loved that. And the thing is, though, have him continuously still get up, like, because he's Michael, he's the boogeyman, he's supernatural. Like, that was the other thing too. Before we went into kills, we were having the conversation with the group of friends I was with, like, is Michael supernatural or not? I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely he is.
We'll talk about that for sure.
There's no way
we had that
he's
conversation when we covered the Halloween series, and we were kind of speculating on like what we felt like it was going to be too, Mitch.
Yeah,
that was actually leading up to 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Boozy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. Well, I just want to like just give me 30 seconds because I just realized I need a fresh beer for this. Like, I'm excited.
Okay. Let's get it.
Beer.
I got a question for you. I gotta wait.
I'm so excited for the question. Let's play What's in Mitch's.
Okay, we got a thing poster. We got Every Time I Die poster.
What's the very top right? Like, you just see the tip of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember from his room, because like I know that small one in the middle is Every Time I Die, and the top one's Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
We'll ask him. Mitch,
what's the small poster on your left?
The red one.
Red one?
Red one.
Like up there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Oh, okay. Okay, I remember that one now. We were playing What's in Mitch's room, and that was the only one we couldn't figure out.
We couldn't figure out that one, no.
You can figure out my Every Time I Die. All of my good stuff is where you guys can't see, actually, unfortunately.
Oh.
Yes, I recognize the double Every Time I Die on there.
Okay. Yeah. Boozy, I got a question for you. What did you think about Michael's... we won't spend too much time on this because I know we've talked about the film a lot, but this is one thing that I thought was a little bit strange. How did you feel about him like escaping the bus? Or do you think that had a connection to do with the professor? What's your kind of take on that?
What do you mean?
Like he's like this you know, they've confined him, but they've also built up how strong he is. And then eventually, and they've also spent a lot of time saying how much time and care they've taken on, like, storing him away. And then he eventually just, like, destroys a bus. And
then they transport him on Halloween night.
Yeah, exactly. They transport on Halloween night, and he destroys a bus, and he leaves the bus. And then, like, so at first I was like, man, I don't know. Like, that's just, like, a little too convenient, but, like, whatever. It didn't totally throw me out.
Shit.
Exactly. But then I thought about it a bit more. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Then there's this whole angle with the doctor. Do you think the doctor, like, wanted him to get out? Is that the approach, more or less?
Yes, that is 100%.
Okay.
He wants to see him in his natural habitat.
So
you didn't see the part where he put the mask on?
Well, I saw that, but I guess, like...
No, it's okay. You only watch it once,
Just take
Kyle.
that whole part out of it, though. Like, the movie would be so much better if you just took that whole part out.
I honestly agree. I think if they would have stolen from Rob Zombies and had something where, like, the bus hits, like, a cow crossing the road, you know, like
something.
Man, yeah, like Zombie in Halloween 2, like, when that bus escape is rank. Like,
it is, but, like, just something
brutal.
of that idea where it's not, like maybe Sartain has nothing to do with it. He's just stoked about it when it happens.
Right.
So, yeah, it'd be like, Michael escaped, and he's like, holy shit, this is an opportunity, versus, like, he engineered it. I think would have been a more fun idea for Michael.
He's like a evil Dr. Loomis.
Pretty. That's a little too on the nose with him.
I don't know. I guess, like,
I don't want to kill Michael.
I didn't mind that angle with that doctor, only because, like, the film is so much about the relationship and, like, the psychology behind Laurie and Michael. So, like, I thought that was actually kind of a cool angle for them focusing on that, but then also having this kind of, like, third member or third party, like, being obsessed with the whole idea.
Well, that's supposed to be like the Loomis
Kyle,
foil.
Yeah, that's Dr. Loomis. So, and I know that's the thing, though, is you're coming to this franchise kind of fresh. You're coming fresh. So that's all stuff that's covered heavily by Dr. Loomis.
Interesting.
Rest in peace. King.
Well, I'll put it this way. I fuck with it. I like that idea. Okay. It's cool. It's a good idea.
It's kind of interesting that they bring up that Loomis angle of having the foil with Sartain, but then kill it off. It's kind of like an acknowledgement of that. And I know that they do talk about Loomis and yada 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 in Kills, but do we want to talk about Kills?
Let's get on to Kills.
I think we have
who's going to go first?
I think
though?
Kyle should, because Kyle was the first one to talk about.
That's a good idea.
So I watched these films back to back. As one does.
To back.
And so, okay. Fuck. Where do I start?
Halloweened out.
Where do I start? I guess I would put this. I was pleasantly surprised, more or less, with how I enjoyed 2018 Halloween. And so I kind of knew the general reception for this one wasn't that hot. Like, just whatever. Generally speaking, folks haven't been enjoying it. So I was like, okay, like, what's going to change? Like, clearly there's a change of direction to some extent.
Also, normally when it comes to something like this, who gives a flying fuck about reviews? No, but the thing is, but with Halloween fans though, they are so passionate, and that's the other thing I want to say before we get moving on this. I'm totally like, I like that Boozy was reaching out to people to share their thoughts on Halloween Kills.
Yeah, that was great.
But after this, I don't want to hear if people disagree or agree with my opinion. Like, I don't, because there's no good comes from it. If you enjoy this movie, fucking awesome. I'm so happy for you. If you hate it, just leave the people alone and let them enjoy it. Like, that's kind of where I'm standing at. But we're gonna go all in.
Okay, so more or less, I think from the first film's kind of like, I guess, like the 3-act structure of that film, I think is pretty solid. It, like, starts off it introduces the characters quite well. It builds tension in the story, you know, in terms of where it's going to go and things you might be expecting and not expecting. And then I think it pays off pretty well. This film picks up right off where that ended, and it
just like Halloween 2 did.
And it just sticks with that, and it just kind of like lets like that fart out and just lets the fart fester and like continue on for an hour and 45 minutes. And I really, really didn't like Halloween Kills, and I'm sorry. I don't have totally negative things. There's some things I do enjoy about the film, but to me, it just felt like a real drop in quality. It's a bit of a just lose it, if you will. if you know what I mean.
Oh my god.
And honestly, it's kind of too bad because I actually liked the world that was set up in that first film. And I guess it's still the same world.
You should check out the other Halloween movies.
I'm gonna have to, obviously. I guess, like, obviously it's still the same world, and I think the things that are more tightly connected to that first film are what I enjoy out of this one. The stuff that is just a little, like, too over the top is too hit sometimes, but it misses most of the times, and because of that, I couldn't connect. And yeah, evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. And there was a
Say
point
it again 300 more times, please, Kyle.
There was a point, too, where I was like, okay, this is getting so nutty that maybe I'm going to fuck with it. Because I love that shit sometimes.
I like the nutty shit, too.
I love the nutty shit, but overall, in my notes, I'm reading them right now, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this just got really bad all of a sudden. And it's just like, I was actually on board even for like the beginning with like the flashbacks with Jim Cummings and the kid.
Shout out Jim Cummings.
Shout out Jim Cummings.
Jim Cummings, big time.
And the kid from Project X. So that was cool.
He's the kid from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
That too, but you know what I mean. And it started off strong in my opinion. I actually think like generally the first act is pretty cool because it's similar to that first film in the series.
It's a Halloween movie.
And this is what I'll say, and I'll let you guys go after this, but I'll give the film this to like stand on, as I do think it picks up directly from that last film, and it's extremely intentional. Like watching it back to back was actually probably the best way to watch it in my opinion, because the energy and the way Michael is like interacting with those around him in that last act of the first film is exactly how he's acting in this second film from the get-go. So like that energy that he has, it's there, and it makes sense the way he's going, but I just don't think he has anything more to prove or show or say beyond that, and the film kind of doesn't either, unfortunately. It starts off like on the foot that it wants to, but it just doesn't catch a landing. I don't know. That's more or less where I stand on it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who should go first, Boozy, me or you, because I have no idea how we're gonna line up on this. I have zero idea. I'm pretty
nervous.
sure I know. I'm nervous. I'm pretty sure I know how Boozy feels, but do you mind if I go?
Oh, sure.
Are you sure? Like I said, you couldn't have met someone more excited for Halloween 2018, and I was still, I shouldn't have. I even made a post about it on Instagram where it's just like, when am I gonna fucking learn? But keep in mind, I lived through the Rob Zombie movies and Resurrection. Like those are ones that were coming out when I was a Michael Myers fan. But H2O, I loved H2O, which also H2O is just the better version of 2018, Kyle, if you want to see that. It's got a way worse Michael in it, but the story is basically the same. That one's Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, I'm gonna get right into this. So, I shout out Steven and Brent from Let's Talk About Stuff, because they mentioned my name a whole bunch on their review of Halloween Kills, because they were like, they have no idea. They just, we're buddies. We talk about horror movies all the time, and like they both adored Halloween Kills, and they were curious what I thought, because there are so many things about this movie that I adored. Like, I loved so much of this movie. The kills, I think, are some of the best slasher kills I've seen in decades.
Totally.
While they're nothing like Michael Myers kills, they're awesome kills nonetheless. And holy fuck, is there a lot of them. James Jude Courtney in this version, like the shape in this movie, I think is the best Michael has looked since the original. Like, I think there's so many amazing moments of that, and I liked the kinetic energy of this movie and how fastly it moved and how quickly it got rolling right away. But within the first 10 minutes, I was just like, it's one of those things where I'm not looking for myself to be right, but they proved right away that they didn't know what they wanted to do with this franchise. Like, in the first 10 minutes of this movie, it proved that they didn't know what they really wanted to do in 2018. Because there are so many amazing moments in this one, like the flashback scenes in particular, that would have been way more better suited in 2018, or it could have been split up a little bit more, because this movie is so fucking convoluted for no reason. Like, there's no reason that this needs to be convoluted. It's Michael Myers is a killing machine, and he kills people, and that's what he does. And like, they have this amazing idea of what they're going to do to Michael, but really what they just do is they turn him into Jason. And
totally.
I'm not going to complain about it because he looks so good fucking destroying these essential workers. Fuck them essential workers. Did you guys see there was petitions to get that scene cut out, which, by the way,
yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here.
Uh-oh.
I think the movie is really, really, really bad. But I like it more than 2018. I have more fun with it. I think it's not as good of a Halloween movie. Like, it's just it's a crazy slasher movie. There are so many. If you're out there and you're listening, because keep in mind, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to talk about this with anybody.
Wow.
I'm just over it. Like, I spent so much time has been wasted arguing about Halloween with other Halloween fans, and it's like, if you like it, awesome. I want you to enjoy it. There are a lot of things about this movie that I really, really liked. But if you are one of those people who bitches about The Force Awakens or Rise of Skywalker being one of those movies that like does the member berries thing, yet you love Halloween Kills, your opinion privileges have officially been revoked. Because this is like the worst case of member berries I've seen in a very long time. But with that being said, like, they're making Halloween so much more complicated than it needs to be. It's not a difficult story to understand. And it's like, I understand that they wanted to throw it, like, they're bringing back Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace and Marion Chambers, which, by the fucking way, and I know I shouldn't be looking for logic in Halloween. I know that. I know that I'm an idiot. And if you see me and you want to wedgie me, go hard. But why the fuck is Marion Chambers hanging out with Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace at a bar? There's like the nurse from the first one.
Them perks. That's all this is. It's a transaction.
Yeah, but they're like hanging out like they're old friends. It's like, yeah, you guys all survived Michael Myers on the same night, but one of you was a like 35-year-old woman. The other two of you were children. Why all of a sudden, all these years later, you guys are at a bar being like, hey, remember that time when the boogeyman came home? And like, oh god, it was frustrating. So long story short, like, there's a lot of things I want to talk about with this, but I want to let Boozy get on with his general thoughts. But I don't hate this movie. I'm confused as to why it exists. And I think that this might be one of those things where we're going to need to see the third one to really see what they're going for here. But to me, that's not good storytelling. You shouldn't need 3 movies to make you understand the point of Michael Myers. And at this point, I'm actually going to be pissed if Jamie Lee Curtis Laurie Strode isn't driving a fucking tank in Halloween Ends. Like, I want to see them atom bomb Haddonfield, because that's the only place they can go from this now at this point. God, I'm just word vomiting so hard right now. I'm sorry, you guys. This is a big deal for me.
This is a big deal, and honestly, the vomit is welcomed.
So positives, I really, really like the kills. I think the movie like looks good for the most part. Obviously, they had to shave off some money on the editing, because it's like, holy fuck, if you could have taken out like 20 minutes of this movie, it could be so much better and so much tighter. The dialogue was extremely cringy. I know that also it's cringy, me critiquing dialogue in a slasher movie, but this was just really, really bad. Like, this was really, really, really bad. Like, I can't believe they allowed some of the writing in this, like, because it just takes you out. Like, when I watched it again the other day, I realized, I was like, hey, I was about 55 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, hey, like, I was having fun with this movie when I went to it, and I was liking it. I also didn't have the best experience. I think I've decided that with these big tentpole movies that I care so much about, I think going forward with these tentpole movies, I'm going to start watching them by myself, or going to them by myself, or just watching it on my own, because it was really frustrating for me, being someone who, even though I didn't love 2018, I was very excited for this movie. And the movie kicked off and people were laughing at things that weren't funny. They weren't meant to be funny. And it was just like, the audience was clearly kind of taking this movie as a joke, which, whatever, do what you want to do. But I happen to care about Michael Myers, and I care about these movies. And I understand that slasher movies aren't these high concept movies that you need to pay attention to the dialogue for, but I guess there's just a lot of people out there who just don't have a respect for the style that is the slasher movie. And like it doesn't need to be so deep. It doesn't need to be anything other than what it is. But I just found some of it to be really frustrating and cringy. The movie's messy as fucking hell. Like it is a complete disaster.
It's unbalanced. Like a lot of those things, like those slasher kind of things, are just like sometimes they work, but sometimes there's way too much of the shit that does not work, and the balance gets thrown off.
But what I want to end off on before I pass off to Boozy here, because I know I'm already going a little longer than I said I would, is I like this movie. Like I enjoyed watching it, and it's one of those ones though where it's like, just turn if you turn the sound off, I'm in heaven. Like I'm watching Michael Myers look great and absolutely annihilate people. Like there's some of the funniest fucking kills, specifically the nurse. Like
oh my god, the gun
when she's got the gun. Like I was like, oh my god, I love that kill so much.
That was crazy.
There's so many moments in this movie that I was like, oh my god, it's so gorgeous and just delicious to watch Michael just fucking annihilate these people. There's a couple kills in here where I'm like, oh, that's a classic Michael kill. Like the old man near the beginning where he keeps on putting the knives into him and he's kind of in the background. I love that shot. Is so cool. Like I love that. But yeah, I'm lukewarm. Boozy, let's hear it.
Okay,
you loved it.
I did love it. First off, I loved this movie.
Oh my god!
Evil did not, in fact, die tonight.
No, it didn't.
And I will give you guys that there is some chunky ass dialogue in this, and it really does seem like somebody told them like, hey, get in those punchy words and those like those slogans, get them in there. Mm-hmm. But what I also will say, because I'm going to have a great old conversation about it, is that they took a lot of the idea from this. It reminded me a lot of politics, honestly, in terms of having this like slogan and this angry mob that's brought up. And they're all kind of like latching onto stuff. And 100%, like I understand the whole idea of like the evil dies tonight is really stupid. But I do like that they're kind of taking the idea of like the MAGA approach, honestly, is that like everybody like caught on to that and started going like berserk.
After the wrong guy, too.
Yes, right. Who looks nothing like...
Imagine him being Michael Myers. Like that's actually how Michael Myers would be shaped all these years later.
That's a good point.
Just this kind of short, pudgy dude who looks like he's a villain.
You feel so bad for him because he's like just clearly trying to escape and he doesn't know what's going on or why but for all we know, he was in that same sanitarium as Michael Myers.
I was going to say, like, you're supposed to feel bad for him. There's kind of like an almost like childlike perspective to it, but it's like he was in a max security like mental facility.
I was going to ask you guys about that, if like he was like a callback to something, or if that was a specific character that I didn't know about.
No, he was just one of the escapees from the first movie.
He's just the Penguin. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly who he is. Just a ham-fisted analogy.
And I will say, like, the big parts that carry this movie are 100% all on Michael's shoulders. I actually kind of enjoyed that they threw in these other characters to show you, like, hey, we're bringing this universe, and that the town I think that's a big part of it, is having that this has affected all the town, and it's taking it away from it just being a Laurie story, which I really and obviously, like, the deeper they go into it, I think this movie spent a ton of time fleshing out a lot of the questions that people are asking as to, like, why is Michael, what is he doing, what is his interest. And I really appreciated that they kind of gave us the idea of, and it's the payoff that I would have wanted for what Michael's character is. The more they're explaining it and hashing it out, I understand that, like, this movie, maybe people are frustrated with what Laurie was doing, but I like the idea that they're saving it up for ends, because obviously, like, they're grounding this in the fact that this woman's been stabbed. She's however many years old, and she can't do this shit. As hard as she's trying, she still can't do this shit, which I really like that.
That's fine. I had no problem with that.
Yeah, and it's gonna, when ends come around, she's gonna have her Gandalf the Grey moment. That's 100%
in the
what
tank, man. I'm telling you, she's got to drive a tank.
Man, when Laurie was on the operation table at first, like, all I could think of was like, does she have health insurance? Like, do any of these people have health insurance?
Yeah, how much is this gonna cost?
Yeah.
I will say Tommy Doyle's character was so thrown down our throats, and especially from having no background with him other than being a little kid. And it also questions is like, how much of a relationship does he have with Laurie that he can just come in there and be like, hey, what's up? I'm gonna do it's like,
okay, that's what? The thing though, that's what I'm meaning is that they had no fucking idea where they wanted to take this. Like they really, like they were just like, let's make a Halloween movie with 2018. And that's the thing though, man, is I think you would even agree with this, and it's coming from someone who like I enjoy a lot about Kills, but Kills is so different than 2018.
Yeah,
like,
it's very different.
It's like the tone and like the level of like the style of Kills in Michael. It's like David Gordon Green and Danny McBride heard every camp of Halloween fans discussing what they loved and what they didn't like about that one, and then trying to make everybody happy, and in the end making only a few people happy. Because like this movie is generally getting destroyed, and I think that a lot of people are taking it maybe a little bit too seriously. But at the same time, who am I to say? I just started yelling on a podcast about it. So.
I will say you're all right with it being two different movies. It feels like a lot of the time. I feel that when it's them looking for Michael in the streets, it reminds me very much of the first one. Not just because they had done that in the first one, but it is kind of the tempo and the beats that it goes for with that versus a lot of the stuff that happens in the hospital. I understood entirely what they were going for with the scene with the guy jumping. It just it felt like it was it was like 3/4. Like I understood the idea, why they were doing it, what the implication and everything is. It felt like they rushed it so much that whatever impact they were trying to go for, they could have just scrubbed that whole point of it and done something smaller.
There was no impact with that, and that was that.
No, it really wasn't.
I don't know. I loved watching him be like a puddle of spaghetti, and his like brain is squeezed out. I was like, that's the thing, is the effects. Like I love the effects in this movie. Like I think it's so gory in all the funnest ways.
Well, it would have been a lot more effective. I would have probably been in like a takeaway scene if like I had cared about him at all. You know what I mean? Like that'd have been the thing, because you're right. Like when he jumps and he's spaghetti on the floor, like that's fucking brutal and intense and like engaging to view. But like beyond that, I don't even know what that. I called him the Penguin in my notes. I know nothing about him. I don't care anything about him.
I will piggyback on what Mitch said about the stabbing the guy in the back scene over and over.
That was cool.
I lost my shit for that scene because that's the only glimpse we've really had of Michael setting up like a prop, basically, because that's what that is. Like that guy's clearly dead. He's just setting it up as like this macabre display, and we've never actually seen him carry out doing that.
Yeah.
So I thought that, and the fact
they kept
that
it out of
blurry,
focus too.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it's out of focus makes it like so much more impactful. Honestly, you're kind of seeing the behind the scenes of Michael doing his thing, which I did really appreciate. You don't always need to see that. Like we don't always have to see how the sausage is made, but to kind of pull that curtain back, just doing it once, I think was enough.
That's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think I really liked. I will say that it was very odd seeing Michael in plain sight beating the shit out of firefighters or first responders.
But dude, I love that scene.
As cool as, like, I will say, like, when you're talking about this would be great in any slasher, all of it was very cool. It doesn't really fit his MO.
It's not Michael at all.
Exactly. Like he would get out the back way. He would kill like one firefighter and go out the back way or something. To see him going out the front door and fucking everybody up. But I understand when you go to the end of this movie and they kind of talk about, like, there's so much stuff that we've missed on, or not missed, but we're going to talk about. But kind of the idea that they're going for is that he's growing stronger as this is going on. Kind of does lend more to that, is that maybe he's a little bit more brazen and he's just fucking going in.
That makes sense. I think like the film kind of started off, and it continues with it to an extent, but it started off with this great idea where it's like the world continues to keep Michael alive. You know, like there's all these like kind of things that happen externally around him.
It gives him that boogeyman-ism.
Yeah, well, it's like, especially when there's a scene where like they see like Laurie and her daughter and granddaughter when they're like driving away in the truck and they see the fire truck go by them. They're like, fuck no, like that's out of their control though. Like they, you know, like there's so many things like tried to do, but they couldn't do, and like just the world around him was keeping Michael alive no matter how hard you try. To me, that was like a really cool way to like set the tone of like where the film was going, and there are like hints of that throughout it a little bit, but leaving on this kind of like supernatural note was something I did not expect, and I think I don't really. I guess it's just because I basically created my own perception of what Michael could be in 2021, like this morning off of 2018's. And to me, that's just not what I thought was going to happen. And not that I'm totally against it, but I feel like it's a bit more ham-fisted than him, other than him just being this like Jaws type character that to me worked. That really worked for me.
One more moment about him being a Jaws type character regarding the fire scene. Like, that was another moment that I fucking loved in the movie, is where the firefighter's putting his hand down and he's like yelling for him, and it's like that totally feels like Michael though, where he will just grab him and pull him down. Totally. Like, I love that. But
even if you want to backtrack a second of that shot is the first firefighter going down there. I love that they showed how he came relatively unscathed. Right. That's smart. Like, I didn't actually pick it up
That's a good point.
I didn't pick it up that he was in the gun locker the first time.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh, he was just hanging out there burning. But it's like, oh, that's really clever. And I do love that I actually wish that they would have carried that scene on a little bit longer and used that as kind of a peekaboo scene, is to have that first responder with the beacon thing. I feel like I've seen other movies do that sort of thing, with the first responder like distress beacon. Yeah. But they could have done a really cool thing with that. But I do feel like they forewent that whole thing and went like balls to the walls with it.
Jason turns into Gladiator, like Russell Crowe Gladiator in that firefighter scene. Like, it's like watching Russell Crowe rip through fucking people in the opening of Gladiator.
The only other time that like honestly I'm okay with all the other kills in that movie in terms of like being more Michaelisms. The only other one that I thought was kind of weird, and I assume that it's supposed to be kind of that comedy thing, is the girl who accidentally shoots herself in the face.
Oh, I love that.
I loved that one.
It was very un-Michael-esque, but it does kind of feel like that was a piece of comedy right there.
Yeah, I don't even know, like I didn't even see it as funny. It was just like I laughed because it was creative. So shocking. It was I like that he boots the door.
It seems like more of an action movie scene than a Halloween. Like I would never have expected that. Like, that's like a Kick-Ass scene, you know? Like the hallway scene in Kick-Ass has something like that.
I love it.
But to see it in Halloween is like, oh, okay.
With the fact that like I don't know, I would have been a lot angrier with Marion Chambers' line, this one's for Dr. Loomis. Like, that really, like, that's the type of shit where I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, this is just all you got to do is just cut that part. But I would have been a lot more angrier about that part if she didn't immediately get brutally shanked. After, like, watching Michael brutally fucking shank her, I was like, oh, thank God, because that's the other thing too. None of the tender moments in this movie worked for me at all. I didn't give a fuck. Not one single fuck. I am so happy Judy Greer is dead, and she better be dead, because like, you know, that obviously, like, it's like, oh look, it's a homage to Psycho, because it's Jamie Lee Curtis's mom was Janet Leigh in Psycho, and like that. I'm like, yeah, like I saw that 10 feet ahead of where they thought. Like it was so obvious that that's what was going to happen.
To me, it was just pretty clear that Michael is not a fan of 2.5 Men season 9, and he just wanted to make.
Is she in that?
Oh yeah, she's Ashton Kutcher's ex-wife from seasons 9 to 11. So
Judy Greer.
Oh, she's not great. I actually don't mind her, but
she's so bad in these movies too.
I thought she was okay in 2018. This one, not so
the
much.
Whole like letting her daughter go, like she's just like, okay, like I'll go let my daughter go out and fucking chase Michael Myers, who just killed my husband and tried killing my mom.
I do really like that they actually addressed her grief about her husband in the second one. Well, no, because we didn't get any time to really breathe on that in the first one. So I like that they do. Like, as much as I find that a lot of these characters whether they're fully fleshed out or not, they at least give each character a little bit of something. Like, we haven't even brought it up yet, but Big John and Little John, it's characters like that where they give them a little bit of something that you can kind of lean on that's really fun. I think that, like, stuff like that was very nice.
Was that something I was supposed to know about?
There's a petition that Michael Myers is homophobic as well now.
Oh.
It's like a petition to, like, make him homophobic?
No, to get that scene cut out. It's just like, people are just fucking the worst. But no, Big John, Little John, like that Big John kill also, oh my god, just delicious. Like, I loved watching his head. Like, it looked so good.
What did Big John do? He's chilling, he's smoking weed, and he just got his shit rocked.
I didn't like I didn't like those characters, to be honest with you. To me, it was just like, that was like a short film that was snuck inside of the movie.
That was a little slice of Danny McBride, honestly. You can that's like that. It smells like him 100% in terms of writing.
It really took me out of it.
That and like the whole, like, she got stabbed in the tit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, hey, we don't, like, I don't know. I think the reason why I'm so harsh on some of the Halloween sequels and like these ones is that, like, the original is just, it's all suspense and tension. And there's none of that in either of these movies.
Well, and it shows restraint, right? Like, I mean, a lot of like Friday the 13th, or sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street, very very similar, right? The first one, a lot of restraint. Every kill is like extremely meaningful, and then the sequels just take completely different approaches and kind of throw that out the window to lesser extents. And I guess that's kind of how I felt with this, because in 2018, like every time Michael killed someone, it felt really intentional, and like there was some tension and engagement leading up to it. This time it was just kind of like a quantity over quality, I guess, would be the thing. Like, as much as the quantity was all like really exciting to the eyes, at a certain point it didn't carry a lot of weight.
I loved every kill though. Yeah, it didn't, because you just you don't feel the kills when it's just happening every 30 seconds.
Exactly.
People up.
I guess I maybe this is going to what you've been talking about a little bit, Mitch. Is I just don't know the angle they're trying to take it at, because like
they don't know. Well,
I don't know. Like, I think there's definitely something muddled in the conversation here between the people that are behind these films, but I guess that I want more of that restraint, because like I feel like it was kind of like a good balance with the first one, where like there was comedy and there was some outlandish things and some campy things, but generally speaking it was fairly, I don't know, grounded, I guess. This one, it's not that a film always has to be like super like even pretentious or keeping its nose to the ground, but I think a film like this could have really lent from a little bit more of that, to be completely honest, a little bit more restraint, because it just being like totally balls to the wall, but then having these like earnest moments where you're supposed to care about characters, I had a real hard time caring about most of the characters in this film, unfortunately.
Even the what's his name? I can't remember his name, but the character they made up for this movie where he experienced Michael
Ben?
He is the one where he was just like, yeah, I knew your dad. He sold me peyote. It's just like, why are...
yes. That's like, the boyfriend's dad.
Yeah, so... the boyfriend's death, I fucking love.
Yeah, that was sick. That was
so brutal.
Do you feel like they made him a huge dick in the first one, and like, so that they could just... and then they kind of make you like him a little bit, or they try to, and then they just annihilate him.
Once again, I think that they didn't know, but that one worked out.
I think that one worked. Oh, and for the record, that guy is in season 3 of You. That's the connection for today.
Oh, he's also in Midnight Mass. Well, the dad is in Midnight Mass. He plays a pretty crucial character.
I'm talking about the son, the dirtbag.
I do like Allison, like the daughter of
me too.
Karen. Like, I really like her a lot. And there's only a couple. Like, I think she had one line where she's like, "God damn it, you guys! Like, just stop!"
Where she
like,
says, "It dies tonight."
Well, then it's just like we.
She was the first to say it though, and that was
Halloween is not complicated. You don't, and like all these like Sheriff Brackett coming back. Hey, Michael, it's Halloween night. Everyone's entitled to one good scare. Shut the fuck up.
It's like they were just writing lines to be like, this will go well in the trailer.
Remember?
Yeah, it is a lot of that. I don't know. And like when Laurie like stabs herself with a needle, what is that? It's something that makes the pain go away. Like, what? Like, I don't know, like some of the, it's just like there's too much of that shit, which like is not like, I love that stuff in other films, and I think if that was the tone from the first film, I probably would like this one a bit more, to be honest. But it's just it's the drastic shift that also just feels really confused. Like it's not like there's a lot of intention into this direction. If like the film started off and it set something up a bit, I guess I can't even give an example of what I would want, but like if there was just a bit more intention for this like angle, I think I would have dug it more. But there are just too many things getting thrown at the wall, and I think the kills kind of save this film. And I think the general like idea of Michael coming back is still pretty strong all in all, but the execution of a lot of these things is just not hot. Like it does not work very well for me.
I feel like we haven't mentioned it a ton but it was a huge point of this is the adding to the lore of like, I know you guys mentioned a little bit, but like adding to the lore of 70, you know, the 70s one by having like these scenes with like the Jim Cummings scene and having the prosthetic Donald Pleasance,
Dr. Loomis,
oh,
it looked
my God.
really good. Yeah, it looked good.
Okay, Star Wars, take notes, because like who did they bring back? No, it's not Husk. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you still haven't seen.
So I just think a lot of that's incredible, and I think it really did match the pacing. I think they did a really good job of having those flashback scenes, having the Michael in that.
Oh, he looks so good. Yeah.
And it's even the way he moves. It's like, okay, you know, you did justice to this really well, and I actually did like that.
Except my favorite part of those flashback scenes is when Jim Cummings is just talking and then all of a sudden Michael runs out and pins him to the wall. Like, that's totally something that Michael would have never done in the original, but also, shut the fuck up, Mitch, who cares? It just looked cool. Like, I thought Michael looked awesome. Like, I love that scene of him running out and pinning Jim Cummings against the wall. I felt like I'm going to love this movie. And I kept on loving it, and I kept on loving it, and then they kept on forcefully trying to make me not.
Okay, like, also Jim Cummings, I know we said before, but like big ups to Jim Cummings.
Shout out Jim
and also
Cummings.
big ups to Mad TV's Michael McDonald. I wanted to see him have a reconnaissance. Yeah, I want like give him more roles. I love that guy, and he deserves a lot. He was in fucking Carnosaur 3, guys.
I just want more Bobby Lee. That's who I want more of.
No, Bobby Lee got canceled, I'm pretty sure.
I think Bobby Lee's okay. I like he has a great podcast called Bad Friends. Big fan. Okay, one thing I want to ask you, Boozy. So
just me?
Well, to the table, but this is more for someone with more of a positive thought on the film, I guess.
Okay.
I'm curious what you think about this in regard to, I guess, the film as a whole, like the approach where it's retconning these things that I'm not really aware of, but you guys are of a lot more of. So like, how do you feel about that? Like, I guess retconning these things, taking stuff out of the canon, adding things back to the canon. How does that work? How does that generally feel as a fan of Halloween? Like, is that something that upsets you in this film, or is it something that, like, just because it's a new era, it's a new approach, it doesn't really matter? I personally, I don't have any weight in the game, so it doesn't matter to me. But beyond that, I also feel like the act of doing that, if it was a franchise I love, I wouldn't care about so much. It's kind of how I feel about this kind of shit. But I'm more so wondering, like, what do people want from a 2021 Halloween sequel then? Like, so like, why would they decide to retcon all these things if, like, they know the fans of Halloween care about those things? If that makes any sense.
The thing is, like, Kyle, I know that you're very fringe, like, your knowledge of Halloween, and we don't have that much time to explain, but there's like the long and the short of it is there's so many different timelines for Halloween that you can kind of pick and choose or whatever. So I'm totally fine with the fact that they're getting rid of, like, I love Halloween too. Don't get me wrong, I love Halloween too, but I love the idea of just having this more straightforward timeline for it. Like, that's more enjoyable for me. And like, I love all the other Halloweens except for like some of the ones Mitchell mentioned, but it is like it's kind of nice to just have that solid timeline, and you don't have to wonder about like the Curse of Thorn or all this other stuff. And I really like that kind of going back to the Halloween Kills is that their way of explaining what Michael is, I think, is my favorite, is really what I wanted them to do with it. That it's kind of like, how does he survive doing all this stuff? Well, at the end of the day, he's just this like entity of evil. So that's like my favorite part of that, is that he's this entity of evil, and he is kind of like poisoning the watering hole just by his presence. I think that's great, and it's something that they never quite could figure out in the other Halloween movies, because they went directly to he just wants to kill Laurie, and then it had to be like how he was related to Laurie and all this stuff. Whereas this one, I love that they literally take it out of her hands in this. They literally go like,
right.
You know what? Actually, bitch, it's a little bit bigger than just you.
Yeah,
it's
no
this
one.
Whole town.
Yeah, exactly. It's Michael doesn't give just a fuck about you. He like,
and that's probably my favorite part, is that they didn't tie the, like, she's the whole time going like, he dies with me and all this stuff, and just to have like this other voice be like, actually, he's just fucking up this whole town. He didn't even know where you were. That was like just happened to happen.
Yeah,
like,
he'll get to you when he gets to you. That's the thing, is like
he's got shit to do.
Yeah. The only thing
he's got to go home.
The only reason that they have for retconning all those other movies is because they do follow the storyline of him being related to Laurie Strode. So it's like that. I understand them doing that, and also from like a financial standpoint, you don't want to make Halloween fucking 10 or whatever and tell people that they need to know all the other ones. So like, I understand, like, it's a business. They're making a movie for wide audiences, and like, you may as well just go with the original. But the thing that I don't like about it is that they actively did talk about how like they didn't like a lot of the things that they did with the sequels, and it was kind of like they were below them, and then they did those exact same fucking things. The only thing that they haven't done yet is that that Laurie Strode is related to Michael, which it's like, whatever, yeah, we get it, but
I'm really hoping that they don't pull that out.
They're not going to. There's no way.
I really like the idea of what they're going.
We gotta be real here, you guys. Where do we go from here, though? Where?
That's like, the thing. That's the thing.
It's gonna be a siege movie. Like, it's gonna be straight. Like, it's gotta be.
It's just gonna be Halloween 2.
I'm not joking. I want a fucking tank, because like they just proved that you can't gang beat the living fuck out of Michael. You can't set him on fire. And if they like, that's one thing I will be so mad if they actually, because they're obviously going to end up in a hospital again, because that's just Halloween. But I swear to God to you, if they set him on fire again, and if that's how they say that they get rid of him, like, I am so.
I mean, that's tricky. I don't really get, like, I don't get the exclusion of like certain parts from the previous films and inclusions of that, while also making these like super specific references to characters at the same time. Because like, for me, that was one thing that like, it didn't bother my experience watching it, but it was just like, oh shit, like I don't know who this character is, but like
what am I missing?
What am I missing? But obviously someone else would get a lot more out of that, which is fine. But then I find that kind of muddled, where it's like, but yet like they've made it so confusing for the fans already. So it's like, who are they pleasing? Like it's a strange kind of dynamic. But I guess moving on from that a little bit, like I have to agree with you, Mitch. Like where do we go from here? Because like I kind of like 2018 as a contained film. Like I think I might just watch that and pretend there's not this film, because I actually really like the way that ends. And I
honestly
think,
like Mitch and I both kind of said before, is this is literally leading up to like the big siege in the hospital, and I'm assuming that a lot of, like that does definitely look like how it's going to go, or it's going to be, between that and the Myers house. But I just, if that's the route they're going to go, which is what Halloween 2 was, is like a siege of the hospital, I'm 100% here for it. It could be really, really cool. So, and like out of everyone here, I like this movie the most. So, of course, I'm going to be looking forward to the next one. And I know Mitch is going to be looking forward to the next one as well. And I hope that, Kyle, you watch it anyway.
So then do we think like the tone of the next one, it's going to be more like this? Is that the expectation?
I think so.
I'm done guessing.
Okay.
I'm done guessing.
I don't think we're gonna put the brakes on. We're not going to get 2018 again. I think it's only going to get wilder from here.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
My only concern is that there is speculation that somehow Judy Greer survived that absolute shanking, and I'll be pissed if she did. She's got to be dead.
There's no way. There's no way.
I'm so tired of her doing, like, she's always so sad and being like, well, why don't we just do this? And it's like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, the delivery is what it, I don't know. Like,
God,
I think,
she
like,
annoys me so much.
I think, like, the motive of her character makes a lot of sense, but, like, yeah, the delivery's off for sure. And I think that's, like, that's kind of my general, like, issue with this film, to be honest. Like, I think everything that it lays out is interesting. Like, even the kind of, like, manhunt aspect, I thought that was kind of a cool angle to take. But yeah, a lot of this execution just it feels muddled. It feels kind of like too many things happening at once. But some of those things I dig. I still like the core. Like the core of it is still in relation to 2018. And so for the most part I'm on board. I'm
Let me be crystal clear. I like Halloween Kills more than 2018.
It's very interesting to me. Very interesting.
Like, I don't think I don't think it's a better, like, I don't think the movie is more well made or anything, but
right.
I think that Halloween Kills is more entertaining for me to watch because at least they really fucking swing for it in some ways.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
I don't know how much more you guys have to talk about it. I feel like we've covered it pretty well. We do have 2 emails from our listeners. If you want, I can read them out, or if someone wants to take one, I can take the other.
I think I have Bryson saved on, so if you want to take the other one, I'll take Bryson.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Who goes first?
I'll just read mine. I got it pulled up here. So this is from Brandon Vermette. He says, "Dudes, saw the film on Monday. Unfortunately, I was mostly let down. The first bit of the movie was promising, like the opening credits being tied to the original, though ended up feeling like they tried to link it to the OG, but the timelines and story didn't really match up. The kills were absolutely solid, and Michael was brutal as well. The fire scene were great, but they felt like everything after that was a mess. Tommy Doyle's character was too much, definitely agree. And the town rallying, evil dies tonight, was just garbage plot filler. Obviously, Jamie couldn't do as much as she was pretty roughed up, but she felt like she had no solid presence in the movie. Didn't make sense how Michael placed these bodies in the park after he'd already walked across the bridge, but I think it was cool how they added the 3 masks on the victims from Halloween 3. Also, I will mention that Michael kills the kid. It's heavily implied that he kills the one kid.
Well, that's the thing. Michael Myers, if there's 2 things we know about him, it's that he kills young-ass kids and old defenseless women. CC Curse of Michael Myers, which I watched again recently, and holy fuck, all that dude does is kill old women.
Well, you know what? He was the plague before the plague.
With that, and he can't run, so...
That's a good point about the bodies in the park when he walks across the bridge. That makes no sense. That's a good point.
Wow, he could just easily come back there. He comes back there and beats the shit out of
He was playing
Jamie.
and he was playing peekaboo with those kids. He went from absolutely shanking
literally.
those people.
Why do you think he doesn't have time? He literally was playing peekaboo with kids. Like,
okay, well, sorry, I take
he's
it
got
back.
That kind of
he was busy with the peekaboo. Yeah.
Anyway, let's finish this off here. All in all, I thought the characters were overly dumb in this movie, even for a horror film. Trying to do too much alone, knowing what he's capable of. That one girl shooting herself in the face was pretty ridiculous. Also, as a gay dude, I respect them trying to be inclusive and having 2 gay guys in the movie, but I always just hate how they're represented in movies, but that's my own 2 cents. They've got a lot to prove with the final one next October. Looking forward to the podcast, guys. From Brandon. Thank you very much,
respect.
Brandon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. Absolutely respect. Okay, this one's from Bryson. Hey, my dudes. I'm here to weigh in on this very divisive movie. I'll start with the good and what I loved. Michael is a fucking beast in this movie. He was so cool and I just couldn't get enough of him. He was so brutal and I love seeing him doing his setups of bodies and basically making traps with them to distract others. I also loved how the lighting would hit his mask in most scenes. It was just beautiful throughout.
Yeah, I'll agree with that big time.
Yeah. Things I didn't like so much. This mob shit seemed like so much filler to me. A lot of it seemed to go nowhere and have no real impact. Yeah. Especially the hospital portion where they were chasing the other inmate. It seemed to drag on forever for them to discover it wasn't really Michael and nothing came from it. They just kept doing their mob shit. Then the sheriff did absolutely nothing in this movie. I just remember him sitting on the stairs in the hospital. That's about it. Why are you even there? I really wish they would have focused more on Allison more. I wanted her and Michael to be the main focus and maybe add the mom more than the first movie as well. But she just became a background character to Tommy, who was so damn cringe throughout the movie. I did enjoy the humor of this movie. That is something I've seen people complain about, but it all pretty much hit with me. And I'm excited to see Michael do some more of his things in Halloween Ends. I just hope it becomes a little more focused and not so spread out to so many protagonists. Although it did feel like the main focus was Michael in this, which I kind of dug instead of him being the final act kind of thing. P.S. I love seeing the flashbacks to 78. I find it so interesting seeing what happened after the original movie ended and how they caught him, and that Loomis makeup looked fantastic to me. Love you guys, Bryson.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Well,
love
thanks,
you too, Bryson. My roommate. I miss you.
Much love.
Yeah, thank you, Bryson. All right, yeah, let's close up shop. So Halloween discourse is done for me for the year.
Okay,
I just can't stand, like, I don't know, man. So many people are just screaming at each other on Twitter to the point where I just kind of logged off Twitter for a couple days because I was just like, I can't get caught up in this shit, you know? Like, just people, like, just if you enjoy it, awesome. If you hated it, shut the fuck up and go see Candyman. Also, yeah, I don't know, Candyman rules. Okay, cool. Well, we will close up shop here, and we will see you guys next week for our Halloween special. So we got to figure out what we're going to do for that.
Don't worry.
Murder of Michelle Brown Simpson.
Oh, God. I forgot about that. Yeah, maybe.
We should.
Nothing says Halloween quite like it.
And the Haunting of Sharon Tate. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. As per usual, you can follow us Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at The Tear Table. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, whatever those people are saying these days. Give us a positive review, or just if you have a negative review, keep it to yourself. Okay, you guys. All right.
Wait. I have one more thing to say before we log off.
Yeah.
We caught him, guys. We got Brian Laundrie.
What? I don't know what this means.
I'm lost.
Oh, do you know that Brian Laundrie guy who like killed his girlfriend and then was like disappeared?
No, I don't know this.
They got him?
Yeah, they just found him. Well, some of them.
Oh.
Mitch, I'm surprised you didn't know about this. There's been like a huge manhunt going on for a long time. Anyway, it's a weird.
Where is he from?
Dan. Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay. Okay. Thanks for listening to The Tear Table, you guys, and we'll see you next time.